Call together the Taipei Economic Development Corporation Board regular meeting. We have a forum present, obviously. Is there any citizen forum invite registered to speak?
No, sir.
Okay. We'll move to, let's see, I just missed the whole approving of the last one. There you go. Discuss, consider, and take action to approve the meeting minutes of May 10th, 2021. Anybody need time to review those that wasn't in attendance or have any questions? Move to approve.
Second.
Go hand. Item D is review the year-to-date financial statements as of June 2021.
Okay, if you looked at these, the first thing that jumps out and makes you go, what the, you know what? The property for the two lots in between Starbucks and Panda, the sale did go through. That closed, so there's a $798,960.10 deposit into y'all's fund. From what I have found so far, it looks like y'all purchased that property with cash. Am I right? Because I can't find any loan documents, and that was before I started coming in here. So do you remember how that was set up?
Well, I don't know exactly, but.
We're gonna need to go back and look at the minutes.
Research that.
Yes.
Yeah, and let's find out. It looks like that you paid cash for it. It is the way it's looking, because there's no financial trail. There's no loan documents that we can find, unless it's lost up in that 380, and I didn't see that either. So
Well, what was that 1.9 million worth of bond?
I'm sorry,
The bond?
that the city did.
Yeah, I just remember I had signed for it.
Recently?
Around a few more years ago.
We'll still look and see. We couldn't find anything right now to tie it to, so the money is sitting in your account. My guess is if we find that was financed, I guess the question will come back then, and we'll reach out to the bond. If it's a bond, we'll reach out to them and find out if we're better off refinancing that bond, putting this back in there, or just leaving this as cash. With the way the interest rates are now, it may be a wash either way, but I would prefer to pay it down and redo the bond, because it leaves you more room for new projects should you choose to have
Well,
it.
don't hold me to it, but that's what I thought.
We'll check and see. We'll look up and find the minutes, and we'll find out where all that went. But as of now, it's sitting in your bank account until we find, unless there's some terms or something that we don't find, then you may see this again next month, figuring out what to do with that money going forward, if we want to try to refinance the bond this early, if it benefits us, or if we just leave it sitting.
And so that raises the question, and that was on the two middle spots, and we just sold on the two end spots.
Yeah, the
That
two.
was a year or so ago.
Yeah, and I think, I'm not real sure how that's going to work yet. I've got to get all that, find out. Joanna's checking to see if anything has been received for those two spots. I think they have. I think that money has already come in, but she's going to check the whole history of dated back to that 380. We just got to get it pulled up. The other thing that we're going to put on here next month, you're going to see is, well, when we get, do we have a future agenda items on here?
Yes, at the very bottom.
Okay, we'll talk about that later then. So that's what that money is. You didn't have any other significant expenses this month. That's the biggest change in what you've got going on.
Can I ask you a question, being new?
Yes, sir.
Meeting under Joshua Station Development, 29,963 in the hole. I'm reading that right?
Yeah, that's for some construction stuff that's ongoing, that were some expenses that were not budgeted for, and we'll clear all that up at the end of the year. I'm not sure why the engineering firm, they were on the plans. Somehow they didn't make it into the bid specs. And so we had to do some things we had to pay for some things that they didn't catch. So we'll clean all that up. I'm waiting to see if there's going to be any money left from contingency money that might cover those. And if not, then we'll do a budget amendment at the end of the year and clean it up.
Is that where we'll see the expense that we had to cover for the road behind that property? Or that easement, or whatever we're calling it?
Yeah, it's all in that contracted amount. But I mean, I can get you the breakdowns and show you what is what. A Mountain Air is done. And I'm not sure how far back on the backside they've got yet. They had part of it poured before I left. I haven't been back down there since I've been back. It may be finished.
Expense for the lots for the businesses or access behind it. And then I saw that we had a good month last month.
Sales are doing very well. We have a couple of companies that have really, I don't know what's going on with them. We've got a phone call into one to try to get in and find out where in the world they're selling all this stuff to. But there are a few businesses that are in the double-digit increases for. There's one that's in triple-digit increases for the month, and the year-to-date stuff is still very strong.
Well, I noticed it was at 80%, but we got revenue reported. We're not 80% of the year yet.
Mhm.
We're ahead of the game.
Yeah, we're ahead of the game significantly. Might even make a few dollars this year. You
Well,
know?
after coming out of a year, I thought, I think,
Well, if you go back and
really,
I went back and I've been watching the sales tax numbers compared to last year, because we were all concerned that this COVID thing was really going to be a hit. But Amazon sales then, of course, went through the roof, and they've actually stayed pretty steady. We have not seen a decline in the two Amazon numbers for online sales. Those numbers are holding steady even as things start to open up. So I think people realize that shopping from home might not be a bad deal, and they're just continuing to do it. Because I went into Dillard's last week, and I think I might have been the only person in the whole place, other than the people working. There wasn't a car in the parking lot, which was good. Where I was on the phone talking to you, when that person.
Yes.
My household stuff in those Amazon.
Yeah.
Yeah, mine's helping
I'll
too.
tell my wife about that.
It seems like every day that truck's dropping something off in front of my house.
I know it.
Yeah, the sales tax numbers are doing very well.
Did anybody else have any comments or want to jump in on something there? Well, if it's all right, then we'll just move on. Okay. And move on to item E, discuss and receive updates on the new commercial development. And you've got 4 bullet items here. 3 Rivers, Brick House Bar and Grill, McDonald's, and 7-Eleven.
So the Three Rivers Coffee House is going to be downtown. That's one of the businesses that will be going into the section of the building that's been redone that's owned by Chris Maddox. Next to that will be the Brick House Bar and Grill. And that's going to be one of the things I think that's going to be neat about that is it's going to have a brick oven for pizza. is my understanding, but they're also going to have a variety menu of other things too. So I think that's going to be a pretty good addition. And there'll be a full bar, as my understanding, in there as well. Downtown.
I assume they're the end one that has the patio.
Yeah, with the outdoor area, correct. And then the McDonald's, we've, looks like got their preliminary stuff approved with TxDOT. There was a couple of plating issues with some signage from Highway 174. That's been worked out. So they could start turning dirt fairly quickly right now. I think we're waiting on the special utility district to finish up some of their planned documents. They were going to have to help with some funding of a water line because there was of some fire flow requirements. But the fire chief has varianced the McDonald's out of that since they're not that far off from it to start with.
Are they going to meet the variance? Or are we granting a variance, or are they going to meet the requirement?
They are granting a temporary variance because once the project is completed, they will more than meet it. There's a fire flow problem in Joshua Station. And the reason is the water line that the school district was going to install when all this was going on to come in front of the high school, because they got sideways with some things going on at the utility district, they pulled that project. Well, since then, the district and the school district have resolved that issue, but the school district still has not put that line in. And that was significant because it was going to go down and tie into the line that goes into Joshua Station and subsequently backfeed all of these pressure problems. Without that, right now they can only hit just under 1,000 gallon per minute of a 1,500 gallon per minute fire flow requirement. We've had to variance 2 other buildings there also, but they're both sprinkled buildings with other fire protection systems in place. And so it was relatively safe to do. And the fire department felt because of the size of the building, they could adequately operate without it. We've had to do stuff similar in the apartments by putting pumps going up to the 4th floor of the apartment complex to get the pressure right. So the fix is extending the line from this overhead down by the fire station. They're going to bring Jay says going to bring a 16-inch water line down Main Street. And initially it was going to turn and go to 174, depending on TxDOT and what they're going to do, either at 14th or at 12th, one of the two. Now they've decided that because of the development that's going on down on that end of town, and because of development everywhere, that line needs to be extended straight down Main Street, and it'll go to 174 down behind the feed store. So it'll go all the way down Main Street. We're working with them right now to come up with some ways to assist with that. You're going to hear that next month with not only EDC funds, but maybe with some other funds that have become available to help fund and get that line down there, because it's going to solve all the problems in Joshua Station for future construction. Plus it makes better everything. And it's going to go 16 inches down to 174. And then from Main and 174, it'll go 12 inches down to Joshua Station. That'll tie into the 8-inch. And then the problems go away.
So that's this water tower feed that way now. What the line coming up, what is not there.
Right.
The
And
school line
and
didn't.
even if the school line was there, it's questionable how effective it would be because they've shut down that overhead on Bentley. There's no water in that tower on Bentley because this one is so much bigger and the pressure so much higher because of the height. It was back feeding into that. So this thing has adequate volume and pressure to provide the whole city. We just got to get the lines in the ground, get them hooked up. And this is a big project. And so it made more sense for us to work with them with some other deals. Plus we've got, it's going to benefit downtown big time. It's going to fix fire flow problems at least half of the city, probably even more than that. mean, it's going to make a lot of problems go away.
Okay.
And so it's a good deal for all of us. You'll hear more about that next month once we're working with Dana and some of that group over there to get things figured out, and you'll be hearing about
So
that.
going from 1,000 to 1,500 will solve the problem, like McDonald you were saying. Or
Well, the
there-
requirement is 1,500.
The requirement is 1,500 gallons per minute for commercial construction. It's 1,000 gallons per minute for residential, for fire flow. That can't meet that down there. What they can get, I think the deal was 985 or something somewhere around there. So they could get close. But we also have the ability to kick the pumps on down there, which they will do if we call them. They can hit that pump station down on Plum, turn that on, the pressure will go up. It's just a phone call that we would have to make, but that could be done. This eliminates all of that. Plus, all of the variances that are in place down there now would basically go away because the fire flow problem would be fixed all over. For Mariposa also.
How much are we talking about? I mean, what's the fire flow rate for the school district right now? I mean, and are people aware of it?
Well, the school district has got pumps throughout there because all of their fire suppression is going through a meter. They've got an 8-inch master meter over there. So all of their water goes through there. So it's not enough. That was going to be part of the solution to them too, because hydrants were going to come off of that line in the front of the building. Since they didn't do it, they've had to put pumps in the front part of that new stuff of the building that sprinkle so that they can keep adequate pressure. This won't affect the school district much. It would have if that line was there. And it would if they ever chose to go underneath and bring it over there. But right now, the school is done through fire pumps.
Is this water line gonna affect redoing Main Street
Yes.
from the left?
And that's why we're working with them to do it with them, because that way, because it's going to go under the roadway. And then when the road goes back over it, we're all done. So we're actually probably going to bid it with them as a package. And we'll do the road part of it along with their bid, get one contractor to do it all. That's the way it's looking. And they're working on the numbers, what their projected numbers are now. We've got ours for Main Street. We've got to go down a little farther because we weren't anticipating doing quite that much, and it also includes the downtown area. So we've got to tie those design standards in too. So we're still trying to finalize estimated numbers, and then we'll know what we're talking about. We're not talking about millions. But we could be talking about 100,000 or so, maybe a little more. I don't know. We'll just kind of wait to see.
Yeah, that's more cost.
No. I don't think so. No, we're thinking much smaller.
Don't scare.
Anything on 7-Eleven? 7-Eleven. 7-Eleven.
7-Eleven.
Oh, I'm sorry. 7-Eleven, if you haven't noticed the big holes filled, they finally got all that done. It's leveled off. Looks like they're ready to go vertical pretty quick. So, and then we're also, what I didn't put on here, we got more information today from, it looks like Circle K, which is what the name is this month. What used to be Valero and I don't know, whatever else. They are tired of waiting on TxDOT also, and they're fixing to pull the trigger on their stuff.
Okay. Even though we don't know exactly which way it's going to go.
Well, they have filed their plats to get their egress and their drive approaches approved, and they're going to go based on the latest TxDOT stuff, but they're ready to go. They're tired of waiting. To be honest with you, I don't if Valero or Circle K or whoever they are starts building before that 7-Eleven is finished, they're nuts, because they're going to have the market for the most part for gas in Joshua when that thing, because right now that's where everybody's going. So it would make sense for them to shut down, because they got to shut down, tear that store down. They're gonna completely destroy that store and build a new, bigger one. And so right now, they should be selling a lot of gas. I'm not sure right now. I think they would wait till Circle K or till 7-Eleven got up and running before they would take it down. I don't know. That's just my opinion. They've still got the building plans have to be redone. I mean, they're 6 or 7 years old. Engineering's got to be relooked at. There's a lot of stuff that has to be reviewed for Valero. It's going to be gas corner down there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, you think if they also own the next closest gas station, now would be the time to tear it off and send it back to their, you know what I mean? And then that'd be ready to go. And 7-Eleven ready to go. All right, well, unless anybody has any other questions about the commercial development, we'll move on to item F. Discuss and receive an update on the sale of the property owned by Type A, located in Joshua Station. We touched on it
Oh,
earlier.
we've already done it, yeah.
I don't think you had anything else to.
No, sir. The money part of it stole its thunder.
Did anybody else have any more questions I thought of?
On F or an E?
I'm on F right
Yeah.
now. That's that part there that the money showed up.
Okay.
All right, well then, G is the future agenda item request by directors to be on the next agenda. Anybody have any requests or suggestions?
I have something that you're going to see. Number one, you're going to see the proposed budget for next year. You'll get your first look at that and how that's going to lay out. In that, I'm sorry.
They starting to scare
This budget's already getting on my nerves too. So you guys are going to see a couple of different things. Of course, one, we'll be talking about the water supply issue with JSUN. And then the other thing is currently in the budget, y'all are partially funding an economic development person. It looks like y'all are paying, Type A is paying $10,000 annually towards that position. And for some reason, Type B is paying $24,000 annually. I'm not sure the difference, but that position is currently vacant. And I haven't made any steps to replace it. It was currently being filled by a part-time person, 20 hours a week for $20 an hour. And I think the $20 an hour was because it was a person that basically had no economic development experience. She had a lot of chamber experience, so she was familiar with a lot of current movers and shakers, and she was very good at marketing, and there was some benefit there. What I'm going to ask you guys to consider is I'm going to bring you a more realistic budget proposal for next year that would help fund a full-time position. And the reason is we've been chasing development for years. I know, Darren, you've been on this board a number of years. Linda, you too. So y'all have been familiar with all the things that we've done. The way things are starting to unfold and as quick as they are, I don't think now's the time to stop. And I think we need to seriously get into this business, and that's going to take, $70,000 a year.
We're gonna let Type B cover most of that.
Well, what I'm going to propose is an equal share.
Sound like a good split.
And it's only because they're going to be taking on some other things too. I did get an offer to buy the park today.
Park.
To buy the land. I started to sign it real quick, send it off, and then see if I could survive the fallout. Anyway, I that's one thing that I'm going to present to you guys. So I'd like y'all to start kind of giving that some thought. Feel free to get online and look up economic development coordinator positions and take a look at what they make. I don't think we need to hire a certified person. I think we can get plenty of benefit from somebody that has some experience, but may not have, that's a significant certification. And it's $100,000 a year job if you're certified. So I'm not sure that we need that. I think we can get somebody started, help them get that certification, be better off for it.
So the person that was doing this was also related to the county.
No, the county person's completely, I don't know, is she still there? I guess
thought
she
this
is.
was related to
No,
that.
no, this was our own in-house person.
So there's no coordination between the counties and the cities.
There is for some places and there's not for others. She kind of picks and chooses who she helps. And as a result of that, we don't participate in her funding any longer. We weren't really getting anything out of it, so we pulled out and went on our own, and quite frankly have done much better. Diana Miller she's well credentialed, she's well qualified, but we just couldn't get her interested in Joshua. You know, she was doing things other places, just nothing here. So we pulled out, and we did a consultant for a number of years with Jack Thompson, and then with the retail coach and a few others. Then we kind of went back in-house. And then we started the agreement with Miranda and the Chamber 2 or 3 years ago, I guess. And it's kind of played out now, and she's gone and moved on to some other things. And like I say, I haven't pursued a part-time person because I think we're spinning our wheels. So it's not likely that I will fill that position unless you two board people come down and say fill it. But I think we're better off holding off and trying to find somebody. And I think it can wait until the next year. I don't think it's anything we need to do right now. If y'all decide next month that you do think it's a bigger deal than that and want to fund it now, then we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Personally, I think we can wait till October.
Linda's over here filling out a resume.
Linda doesn't want to work anymore.
All right.
So anyway, that's that. And it seemed like there was one other thing. Oh, I'm going to bring you the stuff on the bond and for the sale of these two lots. I'll bring y'all that information, find out what y'all want to do.
I don't think this come out. I've been a while. What's the latest on the 917 overpass?
We meet with TxDOT on Thursday.
You mean this,
And we're going to have that conversation, that among a few other things, but I'm hoping that we get some information on that from them. Then they actually called. We've been hounding them. They called and set this up. So I'm hoping that we get that information Thursday. Don't hold your breath,
Okay.
but it might be our turn with TxDOT. You never know with those guys.
Were we able to get, or were they able to get everything resolved with the flooding for the houses over here from the parking lot?
Actually, no, I got another email from Dr. Bentley this weekend, and we're looking at a couple of other things. I guess we got some rain while I was gone. I didn't realize it had been that much, but he said some got in the garage. It didn't get in the house itself, but in the garage. Kristen Mill down the street, he's got a few other options of some things that might work, but I think I'm kind of to the point, and you know, Dr. Bentley's been pretty patient. I'm probably going to bring an engineer in to take a look at that and let's get a permanent fix and not, I don't want to try any more gimmicks. A lot of what we did is contingent on TxDOT cleaning out that culvert, which they've not done yet. But I still think even with that, the thing about it is water's been going in there for years. The house is 2 feet below the street. If it wasn't getting water, it wouldn't have all the French drains that it's got in it. So it's been an ongoing problem. We may have sped it up, made it a little bit worse because obviously water's going to come off that concrete faster. So we may have done that, but we will get it fixed. I sent him a response back today that we're going to look into some things. Amber and Kristen worked the last stuff out with him while I was gone. And so we're going to sit down. Kristen was out today, but if he's back tomorrow, we're going to sit down tomorrow and figure out. But I think I'm probably going to bring in an engineer to take a look at that and let's figure out a permanent fix. Parking lot's not going anywhere, so we need to make it work.
All right. If there's no other things to talk about there. It is straight up 7 o'clock.